We're going to talk about, to some extent, cartridges and long-range shooting and unethical practices in the long-range shooting aspect to do with shooting at our majestic wildlife at distances that are much, much too far. For the past nearly 3 years, the military has done a considerable amount of testing. They've been testing the 6.5 Creedmoor along with the 308 Winchester. They've completely abandoned the 308 Winchester in favor of the 6.5 Creedmoor. Hornady's had some shows on. Jim Scout and Show, Hunt in the West. Engineers and Steve Hornady have been on that show in the past months, explaining that the 6.5 Creedmoor was purposely developed for a long-range target cartridge. Long-range meaning out to 600 yards. It's never meant for any other purpose. It was never meant to shoot at further distance, at targets. It's never designed as a 1,000-yard cartridge. It was never designed as a hunting cartridge. It was designed as a precision target cartridge. That's exactly what it is. It's nothing more. Craig Bodington just today explained on a Guns and Ammo show the same thing that I'm describing. He's talking about people attempting or shooting at extreme ranges with a little 6.5 Creedmoor at elk-sized game even. He knows that it's going on. A great share of the hunting world knows that it's going on. Craig Bodington gets around in the hunting world. He's been writing articles for years and years and years. And these things I have to agree with him on, because I know that he's right, and I know what I'm talking about is right, because the cartridge simply doesn't have the energy to take game at long range. I've had people get a hold of me, telephone me, or email me and tell me that it's a wonderful 800-yard elk cartridge. This is nothing short of just a bunch of BS. You have any idea? Have you checked? Anybody that's doing this, have you checked to see what the energy is? No, of course, you don't care. This is what it's all about. You don't care. You don't care about our wildlife. Our wildlife has disappeared in a tremendous, tremendous way because of heavy predation by big carnivorous animals, wolves and grizzly bears. And we've got to police ourselves. We've got to take care of ourselves and see that we're using the equipment that's needed. If you want to shoot at some longer ranges, shoot game at some longer ranges, you need to pick a cartridge in the first place and bullets that are capable of shooting game at longer distances. And I think longer distances are only about 500 or 600 yards. I don't consider a 1,000-yard shot as even in the realm of hunting. A 12 or 1,300-yard shot. Somebody emailed me a few days ago that a 7mm Remington Magnum will drop elk every time at 1,300 yards. Is that right? You have any idea how many head of elk that I've been on the kills of over my 54 years of hunting? Something over 500 elk kills. A lot of different cartridge combinations, a lot of different bullets, a lot of different ranges, a lot of different conditions. I know what works. I've tested all these sort of things. And I found out many, many years ago, not long after the 7mm Remington Magnum came out, that it was not a 500-yard plus elk cartridge. It was maybe about a 400-yard elk cartridge. And what I'm going by here is the available bullets that we had, even the available bullets that we have today, it doesn't make the cartridge any better in any aspect, or it doesn't take it from a 500-yard cartridge to a 1,300-yard cartridge. If you're shooting a 7mm Remington Magnum, let's say you're using a 175 grain long-range Nosler Accubon bullet, and you're able to start those out at roughly 3,000 feet a second. Look at the ballistics figures. See what kind of energy you've got at 1,300 yards. Somewhere around 6,700 foot-pounds of remaining energy. And then I've been told that it makes it all possible because of terminal performance. Well, where in the hell is terminal performance at 1,300 feet a second? That's what that bullet is slowed down to, around 1,300 feet a second at 1,300 yards. It's just coincidental that that is pretty much about the same. The velocity and the yardage. The energy is half that. And yeah, some of these bullets have a fair amount of terminal energy, you know, inside of 500-600 yards. But the further you go, the less and less that it has. And I've personally recovered bullets. I've recovered bullets myself. I don't see anybody else talking about these recovered bullets. I don't see any proof. I don't see any proof at all that the 7mm Remington Magnum is a 1,300-yard elk cartridge and it'll drop elk every time right where they're standing. There's nothing that'll drop an elk every time where it's standing that's a shouldered hunting rifle that we can pack around the mountains, a 9.5 pound rifle scoped. There's nothing out there that's going to guarantee that it's going to drop an animal every time. We've got a lot of people looking at this situation. The greatest majority of comments that I got on my YouTube videos, the people that are agreeing exactly what I'm telling you, have stretched it too far. There's no respect for the game. It's not hunting. It's unethical. It's just plain and simple. And there are some cartridges that have some energy, but these little cartridges that people have seemed to glom onto, like this 6.5 Creedmoor thing, and there's a few others, and pretty soon I suppose they're going to jump onto this 6.5 PRC cartridge. It's not, you know, it's advertised as a long-range game magnet by Hornady themselves. Well, you know, they talk out of one corner of their mouth that we don't encourage this long-range shooting, and then on the other hand, tell us that, you know, this is a long-range game magnet. How in the hell is it a magnet? If it was a magnet, wouldn't it draw the game right up close to you so you could shoot it ethically? There's no magnetism involved here. This is just nothing but trickery and advertising. It's just BS. That's all there is to it. I know what works, I know what doesn't work, and I've talked to you repeatedly talked about bullet design and bullet construction and so forth, and I find the greatest share of the correspondence that I'm getting as far as these people, which is actually a very small portion of people, but that very small portion of people can ruin it for everybody else. And this is why we're talking, because I don't want hunting ruined. Hunting is my passion. I live it, I breathe it. My gun building is my passion. I live it, I breathe it. My wife lives it and breathes it. I have almost every day of my life. I'm never going to be removed from the gun making world, the shooting world. As long as I live, I'm going to be involved in it. As long as I can do it, and as long as my health allows, and with the good Lord willing. And I'm talking here and trying to explain that it's up to people to act properly and do what's proper for our wildlife. I'm going to leave it at that.